What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 17th day of November, and here we are at about $0.00576 right now. 11 hours left in this day. You guys hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Right off the bat, what I can see is we have a closing low here and a lower closing low here. It's a double bottom, right, overall, but a lower closing low nonetheless. And with that, we also have lower levels of volume. In fact, as we're pressing lower, we're getting lower and lower levels of volume, which is actually a good sign. Imagine we were moving up, and from this peak to this peak, the volume was just like from like this to just completely absent. You would think that here we'd reverse down. Well, same kind of thought here. It's absent. You would think that we might reverse up. Or perhaps we're right on the brink of breaking out and then the volume picks up, right? That could be the case as well. You don't necessarily need to see volume right now if you are to move lower, but this does give me an inclination to believe that we are at some kind of low. And it looks like a double bottom overall, right? We've got this kind of W shape. It's like half a W here. We just need the second half of that to come up, or I guess that last quarter of the W to come up. If this is a W pattern, by the way, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, that would call for a move that is above, or probably around 1 cent. If we were to go above this level, where might be a good point to find resistance? I think back here where we found support before consistently, something right around 1 cent, just below, just above. That's what this would call for. And that, from the current price, would be anything from a 65 to like an 80% pump from here, right? Now, I know 65 to 80% is nice. It sounds nice, but in the respects of where this thing's been, I think that'll just get a lot of people back to neutral, or at least less red overall. If you've been in OnyxCoin as long as I have, or as long as some of the OGs have, you're still sitting in the green. So 70%, 80% is nice no matter what. But it's definitely been a trying ordeal holding OnyxCoin throughout all this dropping. I do feel like we're getting toward the end of it here. We're moving down, and there's just a complete lack of volume. And the fact that we've moved down, I'd be a little bit more concerned, I think, if the rest of the market wasn't moving down as well. I'm actually kind of curious. I don't know if I'll like what I find here, but let's just see. I'm kind of curious. Since October 6th, since the high on October 6th, we've dropped 56%. What's the average altcoin done since October 6th? Or I guess for you, for the average altcoin, for the others chart, it's been since September. Because OnyxCoin, yeah, OnyxCoin, I guess we could take it from the September highs, just to make it fair, 58%. The highs in September, and then the highs in September here, for the average altcoin, we're down about 31%. So OnyxCoin has seen a little bit more of a hit compared to the average altcoin. Why can't I talk? A little bit more of a hit, but oftentimes it's the coins that get hit a little bit more that do see a little bit more of a pump. Plus OnyxCoin, I don't know what its ranking is right now. Let's just see. XCN USD 170. Yeah, you're outside the top 100. Typically the coins with lower market caps and less liquidity, they see more extreme drops, but they also see more extreme recoveries. I really do believe we're getting set up for a V-shaped recovery here. And overall, if that's what we're doing, if we are getting set up for a V-shaped recovery, we should be moving up to like 1.5 cent, 1.4 cent here pretty soon, somewhere in this area where we found resistance before, where we found support before, something in this zone should be where we're going overall. It is the 17th day of November. I mean, I know it sounds wild, but we could really be all the way up here by the end of the month. It is completely possible, and certainly higher than that going into the end of the year. We start to show some life. Altcoins start to kick off. Bitcoin comes back to life. There's no reason why we couldn't be at new relative highs here by the end of the year, which from the current price would be something on the lines of like an 8x. Crazy stuff. But again, the more you drop, the kind of more you bounce. The more you bounce, the more you drop, right? Case in point, one of the most voluptuous bounces we saw this year, and yet one of the larger drops that we've seen as well. That's actually kind of how it goes. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom out from there, and then we'll wrap this video up. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here. A lot of volume. This is Coinbase, so it's got the most volume for OnyxCoin. A lot of volume down here at the low. Little spike, a lot of volume down here at this low as well. Not so much down here, probably because it was the weekend, right? The RSI is beat up. We're finding resistance at the same areas we've been finding resistance. That's not good. But oftentimes you do go from the 60 to the 40 to the 60 to the 40, whatever, and then you choose a side, hopefully not to the downside. Hopefully we choose a side to the upside here. But we are at the 40 right now. So I would expect we do find some support. Here, rejected just below the 60, found support just above the 40, rejected, whatever, and then we picked a side. Right? I'm hoping we do the same thing, but we pick a side to the upside. That's all I'm saying. And if we are doing the same thing, we're at a point at which you would expect a bounce here. So we probably do move up over the coming hours. Stochastics have reset. You're back at the 50. This is a good place to bounce as well if you want to continue higher. And then with that, if we do move higher from here, let's say, we got about 10 hours left in the day, 11 hours left in the day. I think it is 11 hours left. Let's say we move up for the rest of the day. The MACD would cross above the 0. Stochastics would be bouncing off the 50. The RSI would be picking a side to the upside. I mean, those would all be very promising indications there, right? That'd be the first time that we've gotten overbought on the 1 hour time frame since the 10th, which that's like a century on the 1 hour time frame there. Maybe not a century, but that's a very long time, right? A week on a 1 hour time frame is a very long time. So we could be getting geared up for a continuation if we move up here. We need to see prices above 0059. Once we get above there, I would think we're moving up to about 0062 and beyond. And again, once we get up to these levels, once we start getting above this area here, we should be getting overbought, and crossing the 0 here. All good things, all good positioning to be in. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, we do have bullish divergence. You can see it, right? You've got this lower low here. You've got this higher low here. So higher lows right there. We even actually kind of have, right, like a low here, higher low, higher low. I wouldn't call this bullish divergence, even though, yes, this is a low, a lower low, and a lower low. I would just call this bullish divergence, what's going on right here. Same thing with the stochastics, same thing with the MACD. So we've got bullish divergence on the 4 hour, MACD, stochastics, and RSI. That's nice. We've seen a little bit of a move up. Could this have been enough to exact that divergence? Maybe. I think we have a little bit more to go. And then with the context of the 1 hour time frame as well, that would definitely suggest that we go higher. So I think we will. The higher we go from here, you guys, the higher up the price is, the more obvious it becomes that this was a double bottom, right? And the more obvious that this is a double bottom, the more obvious the W pattern comes to mind, the more obvious it is that we are in fact going back above 1 cent and getting that initial pump we were talking about in the beginning of the video. So higher, right? All these levels are key, right? This one here, 0.0063. This one here, 0.0073. I think getting above here is very, very, what's the word I want to look for? Validating. You get above here, you don't even have to close above there. You just wick above there, you get above there at all. We very much do validate that this is the low at that point, right? At least to 1 cent or something around there, right? And then we could talk about going lower. 4 hour time frame, bullish divergence on all fronts. I can't help but be bullish here. Daily time frame, looking at this, you also have bullish divergence on your RSI on the daily time frame, bullish divergence on the stochastics technically, and on the MACD as well. So bullish divergence on all 3 indicators on the 4 hour and the daily time frame, and we've got a double bottom setup, and the market is extremely fearful, and you've been moving down for just such a long amount of time. I can't imagine we could keep going lower. It can happen, but it looks like here we're showing signs of readiness for some kind of a bounce. Even if we do go lower, maybe we put in a higher low or a lower high, and then we do that. Something that would take us around 1 cent, if not above 1 cent. If I'm right, though, if we are going, somewhere between this high point here and these low points here, just imagine that real quick, right? We saw a move that took us like right smack dab in the middle right here. I guess that is still, that would still be a lower high, yeah, within this range. It's still pretty well within those confines. I was thinking that we'd be breaking out because it looks like we're breaking out of this. And yes, we are, but I mean, we broke out of this and that didn't do anything, right? We broke out of this, that didn't do anything. So we're not really getting excited until we're back above, I would say, 1.4 cents. We get above 1.4 cents, that's when we're excited. Don't get me wrong, an 80% pump will be nice when it happens, but getting up above 1.4 cents is even better, I would say. Weekly time frame here, looking at this. The one thing that has me, I don't know what word to use. Curious, cautious might be better. Something that's making me consider that we do have lower to go is, again, just where we are here in the price, right? We're not really anywhere that makes sense to bounce. And I will say we're pretty damn close to this wick, and that might be good enough, but typically you'd like to interact with these price levels, right? At least something like that. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere's land where there's no significance at all other than right here at 00539. We had a little bit of resistance there. It's not the most significant level in itself, but the fact that we didn't even touch it, maybe we have a little bit lower to go and then we come up. Maybe we further this bullish divergence and then we come up. I don't know. And we could go lower. You know, there's immaculate support down here where we found resistance before, but I don't know if we go down that low, you guys, because again, we look at XCNBTC. Sometimes the truth is in the devil's in the details, right? You look at XCNBTC, and it really does look like we're at a low point here. The XCNBTC chart, you guys, we've got immaculate bullish divergence on the weekly time frame. Okay, absolutely we do. We're decaying in bearish momentum right now. The stochastics have bullish momentum, double bullish divergence here. The RSI doesn't have bullish divergence, but we are at a low point. We're at some of the lowest levels that we've seen really since back here, some of our lowest points in the price readings as well. And we're finding support directly at prior resistance here, just like what we wanted to see, what we want to see in the US dollar price. But we might not get there because of this chart. Maybe we're finding support here, and that'll hold us up. I don't know. And then we look at the daily time frame, and there's bullish divergence on these fronts as well. It's hard for me to imagine XCN USD going lower, because if it does, that would then mean that XCN BTC goes lower too. And we're just at such a the signs are there, at least in my opinion, based off this chart, that we are about to reverse. I know there's a lot of people who have lost faith. I know there's a lot of people who have doubts with OnyxCoin. My thoughts on that topic would be just hold out a little longer. Wait to see how this plays out. By the end of the year, I think this is going to give us a nice pop, guys. This weekly MACD divergence is no joke. Mark my words. And even if XCN BTC doesn't go to the levels that I'm thinking it's going to go to, let's just imagine we get a standard pop from here and what that might mean. Okay, high to low. XCN BTC gets a pop from here. Let's say we go to the golden ratio. That's all the way up at about 6021202. Let's just do that real quick here. Google calculator. 6 zeros, right? Come on. Do I not have my num lock on? There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 zeros, and then what was the number? 6 zeros, 21202. 21202. That level in Bitcoin times the price of Bitcoin. It's like if Bitcoin was at 95K by the time XCN BTC reaches this level, which I doubt it will be. I think that it would be worth more than 95K, but let's just say 95K right now so that we know what level to expect higher than this. Right, that'd be 2 cents. If Bitcoin stayed at $95,000 and XCN BTC saw a standard retracement up to its golden ratio, just to the golden ratio line, not any higher than that, that would take XCN USD back to 2 cents. That would take it all the way back up to 2 cents on the dot right here. And then the thought is, if we are finding support here, if we are moving up from here, if the XCN BTC chart is telling us the truth, which I think it is, and we see a standard bounce back to the golden ratio here. I mean, look at this. We take a high to a low here. Where did we go? We went through the golden ratio here. We went up to the 786. Could we go higher? Absolutely. And then we multiply it by the current price of Bitcoin, which is 95K. That's at 2 cents. Bitcoin's not going to be at 95K, guys. Bitcoin's going to be at higher prices. By the time XCN BTC moves up here, Bitcoin will be at higher prices. That would put OnyxCoin all the way up at 2 cents or likely higher, right? I think it's deducible that it's higher. At that point, we're undeniably breaking out of this trend. At that point, what does that imply for OnyxCoin? There's very little doubts in my head that OnyxCoin will be above this high, or at least around this high, by the end of this year. Right? And then certainly going into January, I think that we'll be pushing for new all-time highs, if not our all-time high area. Okay. Let's take this a step further. XCN BTC, right? We're not even assuming that we see new highs, which I think we will. I think XCN BTC will see new highs. But just off of this standard retracement to the golden ratio. And that's not guaranteed either. Maybe we go lower, but again, I feel like I'm being fair by taking the current price of Bitcoin into consideration with that as well. Let's say XCN BTC does move up here, but Bitcoin's not at 95K. Maybe Bitcoin's at 110K. And that puts us at 2.3 cents. Again, just to me, it makes a lot of sense that with this next leg up in the markets, OnyxCoin is going to get a solid kick from this. We're going to see some consistent growth. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. Just be patient, buy the dip, hodl. And again, if we go lower, we're very near points where we would find support. We're very, very near them now. We can go lower, but I'm not under that impression, and it's specifically because of the BTC chart. I don't think enough people look at the BTC chart. If they did, they might be a little bit more bullish, because this is serious stuff, guys. Weekly time frame bullish divergence on the MACD and the stochastics. That's serious stuff. You're oversold. You're the most oversold you've been since October 2023. Sounds like we're at a low point to me. Sounds like we have some recovery to do, and we probably do over the coming days and weeks. I got nothing else. I'm just rambling at this point. Hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Have faith, have patience. Buy the dip. Bye bye.